Web3 is changing the world in many ways. One of the ways it's doing it is with musicians who are now moving away from that starving musician routine and now getting paid. Through Web3, through NFTs, they are doing it, and it's wonderful to see it happen. And today, you're in for a treat because you're going to see how this works and how it can apply to your business as well as an entrepreneur. Our friend Tatiana Moroz is doing it right now with Web3, and you're going to get a chance to see that on this episode of Stark Raving Entrepreneurs. Welcome to Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, where you discover how to achieve your goals and dreams, getting the freedom you want, all while living voluntarily, peacefully, and with a live and let live lifestyle. Now, in these sessions, you're going to get a chance to discover not only how you can survive, but how you can thrive in the midst of everything that's going on. We'll be bringing in Web3 options and capabilities for you, doing a lot with that. And also, we're going to help you to understand why we're bringing in some of the top people in the world that are working in the Web3 space. And today, got a very special friend and person who really knows this stuff, who's going to help you a lot. So we're going to be reaching out to entrepreneurs like you, showing you what can be done, how to do this, and help you understand and determine what is best for you as you move forward. But also remember, we do not make any financial advice. That's a firm thing we say regularly. Zero financial advice here because, hey, we're not going to be qualified to do that. You find your own financial advisors, do your own due diligence, or as Brian Fanzo said so well, do your own damn research. So I think we got to do that. But today we're going to be covering something that's really important about musicians and how they're using crypto, how they're using the NFTs, those non-fungible tokens, and some others with a dear friend of ours. And Gina is going to be joining me as well, my co-host, Gina Carr. Gina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just great. What a wonderful day to talk about Web3, one of my favorite things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, Gina, I'm going to let you introduce our special guest that we have today, a very special musician and person that we just love and adore.
Well, great. Well, just to put it into context, let's take you guys back to 2014. And Terry and I had been hearing about this thing called cryptocurrency probably for a year or two by then, but we hadn't really done anything about it. 2014, there was a conference going on right there in Orlando called Coins in the Kingdom. We went to that conference. We met and heard the beautiful Tatiana Moroz. We heard that she was launching her own crypto coin, her own Tatiana coin. How exciting. And so it's just a thrill that over the years we've become good friends. We've seen each other at a number of conferences because we're crypto crazy, right? We love it. We believe in it. We know that it is the path to freedom and control over your lives and our lives. So it's really important. But to tell you a little bit about Tatiana, she is a very talented singer-songwriter, and she is a total driving force in this cryptocurrency industry. In addition to being a talented musician, she's also a talented marketer, and she's helped many companies with their social media and marketing efforts in the crypto space. So she uses modern technology and economics with classical social awareness and influence of songwriters of the 60s and 70s. She's the creator of Tatiana Coin, as I mentioned, and that was the very first musical artist coin, and it's been the alpha, or what a lot of people call the genesis, for the concept of artist tokens. Her inspiring album, Keep the Faith, was released in 2017 and was totally funded by cryptocurrency. And her next album, you're going to love this, Love Songs for Idiots, is launching later this year. Tatiana, welcome. We cannot wait to learn from you today. How are you?
Oh, very happy to be joining you and lovely to meet everybody. Hello, everybody at home watching. This is such a neat way to kind of connect, right? I don't even have to put on high heels or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we're kind of those live and let live kind of people. So if you want to wear heels, you may. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's kind of like we say, do anything you want to do, anything, as long as you don't harm someone else. You don't initiate force. So that's kind of the philosophy we go by. And Tatiana, I know you embrace that as well.
Yes.
But I want to ask you a question to get things started. As we look at Web3 and we look at the world of musicians, I am thrilled when I see that musicians are finally in a position where they can start getting paid a good amount for what they do by their fans who love them, to make it easy. Tell us a little bit about what you see happening in the world of Web3, particularly for artists and musicians, and possibilities that are there.
Well, I think it's very, very young. So I'm a person that's very practical. And from my life experience, artists and musicians have to really be very cautious with their time, and they have to make sure that there is an ROI on their time. And there's always lots of different products and gimmicks and stuff that people will throw at you to say, oh, this is how you're going to make money, and this is how you're going to get your fans and stuff like that. So I don't want people to feel that way. For example, if they get into crypto next week, they're going to be selling NFTs for $10,000 a pop, easy, and they're just going to be, living off of their crypto money. I actually recommend that artists first and foremost educate themselves about the financial system if they can stomach that kind of a, discussion, and actually buy some Bitcoin, because for me, that was really a big game changer when I bought some Bitcoin. I mean, I didn't have a lot of money to put in, but what I did put in, obviously, it went up, and having access to financial resources is critical for artists to be able to, create their art. And, there's only so much suffering that we can bear. That being said, I think that it's a very exciting new world that we get to play with and that we get to shape right now by participating. And it's very different from, when I did Tatiana Coin years ago, because they're doing construction at my house, and I'm like, maybe don't do that now. So anyway, I think that, as artists get into it now, there's definitely a lot more players, but they shouldn't be discouraged. There's certainly a lot more happening and a lot more things that they can get involved with. And it's like a great time to be making a community, right, with people. It's not necessarily a get rich quick scheme, right? And you get to make friends with people that have similar values that I think later on will be helpful for solving problems. If you're a musician, not a visual artist, like for me, I'm a musician, I'm not a visual artist. There are a lot of challenges that go into technology that you don't necessarily consider. When we made Tatiana Coin, I had a really hard time with it because I just didn't even think of what programming was. I just thought things just appeared in the internet. I had never even considered that. And these things take time, things break. And even now I have this counterparty token, and counterparty has a resurgence. Counterparty is a type of coin, right? So you can make NFTs on a few different protocols mainly. And so the main ones are like Polygon, Ethereum, and Counterparty. And then I think there's like a couple more. So basically, even now there's limitations with what I can do with my Counterparty tokens, because the services that I want are not all in one location, right? And so knowing people in this space has really given me an advantage, because I can find out more information, right? Because it's kind of hard to find. So I encourage people to use the web to also be making friends in person. I think that's really valuable. So for artists to get involved, they can certainly, get their hands dirty, but their pockets may not be filled immediately. So I just want to give them a little bit of a warning on that.
Oh gosh, I hear you. And it just excites me so much to think that the term, because of NFTs and because of creator coins, the term starving artist may one day be a thing of the past, right? Wouldn't that just be an amazing time to live in?
Well, that's certainly what I've advocated for. And, and that's why I've been doing this for as long as I have. You run into bumps in the road. There's delays, there's funding issues and stuff like that. But the reality is that is a acutely felt problem for most creative people. And now, of course, we've got like some other kind of like social media impact on it, right? And like people who are really interested in being famous, but maybe not because they're necessarily artistically driven. So I have found that participating in some social media platforms can be a little bit challenging, because I know that it's a censored environment. I know that it's an area where the algorithms are not at my disposal. So when you're using these Web3 tools, right, you're forging your own path and you're building something for yourself. But it just is very hard to build sometimes. And you have to be really patient. So I think that there's a lot more value there though, because, you know, I went and I was on Facebook and I was on MySpace and I was on all these websites. And at the end of the day, when they don't want me to talk to my fans, they turn off the juice and then they say, give me some money. And I'm like, why? I already gave you so much of my time and my energy. And they're just ungrateful. So as a result, people now can be doing these kind of alternative things. And I mean, even now there's a lot of new things going on that people can be doing. Do you guys want me to tell you about some of my art that I've been working on?
Yes, that would be great. Yes, tell us about the art you've been working on. Can't wait.
Yeah, because this might give people some inspiration. You know, I mean, I don't know who our audience is, and sometimes it's business folk, but just here's like a use case. So I have a new album called Love Songs for 80. It's, you know, broken heart record, right? Kind of funny. And so I decided to take these photos, and we were thinking, all right, we're gonna have to do something really neat, because my last album cover was done. It was a gift from Ross Ulbricht from the Silk Road, who's actually in prison. So he made a picture of me and I used it because I wanted to show people, if I was signed to a record label right now, I may not be able to throw support behind this peaceful person, right? And maybe some people don't agree, but that's okay. This starts a conversation, and that's why you need artist coins. So this time we took these photos, and they're sort of a little bit almost bachelorette-ish. And so what we did, I don't even know if anybody's seen these in a public fashion. What we did was we fed them into this AI machine. Actually, before I share the screen, I'm going to tell you a little bit more. So after I made Tatiana Coin, we started a company called Tokenly. Tokenly has made a number of different products for the crypto space, like in the Web3 world. And one of the things that has kind of branched off is called Pixel Mind, and it's an AI machine. And it basically takes either your prompts or a photo, and then the AI makes art out of it. And it's in a million different styles. It's really like infinite. And so in its infancy, we put in my photos that we took at this photo shoot. And then what we ended up doing was, well, I'll show you. Okay, so this is Pixel Mind, right? And so they would take these, I don't know if y'all can see this because it's not that big, but I don't know how to make it. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Okay, so these are just some of their own things, right? But that's, oh no, why am I so challenged with the internet? Okay, here we go. So then we did these blended images. So we have, this is like the original photo, and then here is what the AI created. And then we did it here. So here's the original photo. Here's an AI creation. And it allows you to make like so many different variations. And then you could just pick which one you want. And from a practical perspective, as an artist or as anybody using graphics, I mean, graphic design is very expensive. But, you know, I don't really want to put graphic artists out of a job. So what we did was we gave some of these images to my graphic designer, Nikki, and she re-implemented them. So you can have the regular picture, here's the AI, and here's like a melded image where you can kind of see that she put my face back on. And so this is what we're going to end up using as my NFT art, right? Right now, they're just images, but they haven't been assigned and they haven't had a strategy assigned to them, right? And that's sort of a problem also when you're creating these images, like, how many are you going to make? How many are you going to sell? You know, it could be a little bit nerve-wracking because you don't know what the market will dictate, and you don't want to price it too high. So even for somebody who's like seasoned in the crypto space for a long time, these are still big pressure decisions. So that's why, again, I say you have to approach this with a fun spirit and try not to get, you know, overwhelmed by those kinds of decisions. And remember, it's supposed to be fun, right? And don't spend too much money on it if you don't have money, because then you might not make it back. So just, you know, because like, that's the thing, like when you're minting an NFT, right, you can make it and you can mint it for really cheap on one platform, but you know, the main NFTs are out on Ethereum. So on Ethereum, you can have a really high fee for minting something, and then that could be cost preclusive. So there's a few different things that go into it. And if you are like me, you want to make sure that you can manage your fans' experience as best you can. And that's the other thing, like even the fans aren't necessarily ready for this, right? So you can use this as an opportunity to bring them along on your journey and almost make them your, I don't know, like they can almost be your personal Google, right? Not exactly, but they can also be, it's like a hive mind. I guess maybe that's what you would think of it that way, right? Like now you're collectively thinking about a problem and you're co-creating. And so on the point of co-creating, we're going to, for the album itself, when it releases in October, we're going to do a thing where almost like Mad Libs. So I will contribute to the AI's input, and then my fans will also contribute to the AI's input. And then I guess I'll just pick whichever image is the best one and I'll make an NFT out of it. I think that's like pretty neat, right? So now like just a lot more people can play with art. Even people who aren't necessarily artistically inclined, but they have an outlet for their creativity. So I don't know. I think that's pretty neat stuff.
Yeah, very good. I like that. And I think the direction you're going on that is really good. There's a lot involved. There's a lot of terms we need to learn, but that's okay. And getting some help on that would be good. As a matter of fact, one of those terms, we had a question come in from Sherry who asked, what does it mean to mint an NFT? You're good, Tatiana, explaining things in English, plain English, for those of us that don't understand it. Real simple. What does it mean to mint an NFT?
In practicality, you like press a button and then it goes into the internet and then it says like, this is your NFT. And then it actually has like some kind of, stamping on the blockchain and stuff like that. But really when you mint something, you give them some money and now they say, okay, it's official. Thank you. And then they give it back to you like as an actual token.
Yeah,
Whereas
so you
before
have
it
that
was just an
registration.
idea. Yeah, exactly.
Kind of like if I bought a property somewhere and they send me a notice and a certificate that's authorized and it's completely legal that I own that property. That's kind of what it's like with an NFT when you mint it. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. And that's kind of what they do with NFTs as well. Like they are doing that for properties. They are assigning it. So
Yes.
Some people, they can do an NFT for art, and that's my use case, right? But yeah, you can actually, I don't know, like master of all like real estate NFT stuff. But actually, that's what we're going to be educating people about this weekend. I'm having a soiree for my new song, Keep Your Chin Up. It's a single. And so we're going to be talking about that. But yes, you can do NFTs for all different finite items that you want to keep track of or you want to change ownership. And we're only really learning what some of those ideas are. There's like just an infinite amount of possibilities. So we'll see which ones stick with the public sooner.
That's good. I like that. Well, I think that's real good. And by the way, I do have to ask, remember, you and I have known each other. I interviewed you many years ago, and you had your guitar handy and you were able to sing a song. Is that possible today even?
No, I wish that it was. I wish I had thought of that, because the thing is that I have people here, like in my whole house is in disarray. So here it looks semi-normal, right? Everything outside of here is messy and crazy.
Disarray.
And like I wouldn't even be able to walk to the door. It would take me a minute.
I think we can all relate to that.
Sorry. Another time though, I'd love to. And also, people can listen to it on Spotify. And actually, so we have this. All right. So we made Tatiana Coin. And so Tatiana Coin is actually not an NFT. Tatiana Coin was meant to be a currency kind of for my fans. I want to say currency because then the government's going to be like coming after me. And I don't even know like if that would be the right specific term, but it's almost like a fan-based coin that is allowing you to indicate like, oh, I have 100 Tatiana coins. I'm the biggest fan. Well, I have 1,000. I'm the biggest fan. And we have a lot of big plans for the utility of that. But right now we're starting out really simple. So by the time that Keep Your Chin Up launches August 12th, we should have this ready on my website, where people who have Tatiana Coin or later on some special NFTs, they'll have their gated content. So it'll almost be like a super fan portal. And there will be things that are available just for those kinds of token holders. And so that's just like one kind of thing that you can use it for. And I think that that's a way where I could be driving people to continue to engage with me in my website. Now, maybe I send out a tweet, maybe I go on Facebook and I say, oh, blah, blah, blah. But if you really want the good stuff, come to me here. And I really hope that that's a way that, we're going to have some kind of an NFT that will make it a little bit more affordable, because, you've got like the art ones, right? And those are supposed to be exclusive and fancy or whatever. But I want to have something where average people can try it out. And then, they're basically able to use crypto in a very simple way. And sometimes they don't even need to know that they're using it, right? And I guess that's sort of the point, right? To make it a seamless experience. So I'm not promising a seamless experience, because I know from experience that that's difficult to promise. But, my goal is to use my music and use this technology to educate people and hopefully get their gears turning on new stuff.
Well, you're such a pioneer in this space, and the NFTs are beautiful. I love what the AI generated, but yes, your graphic designer made it even more beautiful and special. So this week we have been talking about the difference between social tokens / creator coins, which is what you launched, the pioneer 8 years ago. My goodness. So you weren't just a pioneer though in the musician space, you were a pioneer period, because even at that time there was just a handful of cryptocurrencies in the works, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, before, when we made Tatiana Coin, you couldn't even make a token on Ethereum yet. Like, they had announced it, but that's it. So, it's very, very early days. And I think you get a really great advantage by being involved early. But, I remember I went to my first crypto conference, or one of my first ones, and I just felt so left out. And I was like, oh, I got here too late. And that was in, I think 2012 or 2013. And now I like laugh at that, right? But people now may be feeling that way. They're like, it's too late. It's definitely not too late. Very few people know about this. You guys are lucky to be hanging with Gina and Terry, because they have a really great way of putting this stuff together and hopefully making it not too intimidating, because that's the challenge, right? I'm a musician. What do I know about technology? But what I do know about and what I care about is freedom. And I've had experiences that have really motivated me in this. And I'm sure that other people have been frustrated, right? You try and build something, but it really doesn't belong to you. So this is the first time that we're able to make something that's truly ours.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And yes, that's definitely a uniting force behind us and what we do and what we stand for, and our alliance with you as well. So Tatiana, can you explain, and I know you've touched on it already, but what do you see as the main advantage, disadvantage to the social token? Let's just call the Tatiana coin a social token versus an NFT. And when would you launch one versus the other?
I mean, the problem with a social token is infrastructure, right? And like, I want to be able to message with people directly, and I want to be able to sell stuff and cross promote and do things, but it takes time for it to be useful. NFTs, well, let me finish what I mean there. Like, you need to have the infrastructure there, but I think that has more long-term usability, I guess. I don't know, like, it just seems more fun and interactive and like a longer term strategy. But the NFTs you can easily do, in that you can pick out a piece of art, mint it, and then you could just sell it on OpenSea. And then that's like a pretty straightforward engagement with crypto, right? The problem is that who's going to buy your NFT, right? So I don't think that it's just like people are cruising around saying, yeah, man, I can't wait to waste $10,000 on some JPEGs today, right? Like, they have probably, artists who have a story. And I guess maybe it would be a little bit, I mean, I always try and find the parallels with what it's like in the real art world, right? So I guess if you're a real artist and you're already making money and you're in like museums and stuff, then you can sell your NFTs pretty easily. If you have an active fan base that's liking what you're doing, and maybe you don't even have an art experience, then maybe you can convince them to buy it. But you have to have some kind of an idea. for your audience, just like when you're selling anything. So yeah, I mean, NFTs are easier to make, but they come with some of their own challenges. And then social tokens are fun, and they should function more like your regular social media token, interactions, but they're not quite there yet, tech-wise.
Yeah.
And people aren't using them, like as often. So, we're early.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing we keep hearing over and over. Those of you joining us, all of the presenters have said we're in the early stages of this. We're just getting started. So now is an excellent time for you to get in there and begin learning about it. Again, we're not making financial recommendations, but we're making strong educational recommendations. Get in there and study, learn from the people that are doing this right now. Well, Tatiana, we got you here. I want to ask you a question. If you look back over what you've done just in the NFT space and when you've worked with that, what would you do differently? If you could get into my time machine here, we go back to that time when you did it. What would you say to Tatiana then, and more particularly to the people who are joining us now, either recording or live, to avoid this, and instead I would have done this? What would you encourage them to do now to get started in NFTs?
I think money is important.
I think money is important. Let me write that down. That's good.
Is so important. And you can achieve a lot based on your hard work, your gumption and whatever, but there are limitations if you don't have capital. And, I went to a great music school. I mean, Berklee College of Music is one of the best music schools in the country, but they don't teach you really that much about regular business stuff that you need to learn about. And it's been, an introduction, like a crash course, I guess, into investments and finance and whatever, trying to get behind these projects, right? And interacting with the space. And I just wish that I had had a better education around basic business stuff and just finance and like the stuff that you want to pay attention to in class, but is very important and helpful to saving yourself time and money later. You know what I mean? Like if you can read a few different business books and get a little bit more understanding of how things work on that front, I think it can help you before you just dive right in. I mean, if you're diving in and you want to have fun and you want to play around with some stuff, that's fine. But if you are an artist, like I said, only so many hours in the day, only so many extra squeezed pennies from the already crappy paycheck that you can assign to your art stuff. So, and trying to find an investor is a very useful way of using your time, in my opinion, unfortunately.
Really? So in our day of being able to launch NFTs sort of as a fundraising, I've heard people compare it to a newer form of crowdfunding, a newer form of a Kickstarter type project. Do you think that even finding private investors is superior to doing the NFT?
I think people are burnt out on paying for their friends' pet projects. You know what I mean? Like people are poor right now. Get real. No offense, but like, and not trying to be like rude or anything, but it's just, I think that people need to be thinking like adults and not like artists. They need to be thinking about like as if they had children with mouths to feed and not just like messing around, So I think that, this stuff is neat, and crowdfunding comes with its own challenges. Like when you do a crowdfunding campaign, it takes a lot of marketing, and who has the time to come up with those plans? You can't just launch it willy-nilly. If you have a really active and engaged audience and you want to make money off of them, they want to give you money, great, but don't assume that they do. And even like, people may not even be able to figure this stuff out. Like people are old and they want to learn stuff. So if you're expecting, your fan base and they're like 60-year-olds, and not saying that 60 years old, but like, I don't know, if you're 60, you're not necessarily going to be able to figure this stuff out that easily. And so you have to take into account that even your audience, like do some research on what makes a successful crowd sale and then work from that point. Just don't go in there without a plan. I guess that's also speaks to the point about reading some business books, like try and at least have some kind of a strategy and consistency with how you're going to keep talking to people.
Yeah, I like that. Tatiana, as you know, I did not go to Berkeley Music School, really, really good school. I went to a business school, and what you're saying right now, my instructors would be going, yeah, she's right. You need a plan, you need to put that together and make sure that it's happening in the right way. And a good question came in from Greg. And Greg, you were able to come on. Would you be open to unmute yourself and come on and ask that question?
Hi, Greg.
So, hi, Tatiana. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, hey, I'm fantastically well. That's what I always say. It's a mindset. And speaking of mindsets, my question pertains to if one does have a business background and let's say a few dollars to play around with, exactly what are the 1, 2, 3 steps that one should engage in to set this ship off to sail?
Well, surprise, there are no steps available because there's no map, right? Like, that's the thing. People would think that, oh, I'm the expert and I'm going to know how to launch this NFT, right? I don't know. I mean, it's really sort of like this, I don't know. It's such an intimidating process. I mean, you want to have an advertising budget. I think that that's the real thing, because you know, you want to have original content that people are going to relate to. You don't want to complicate it with like too many asks in one thing. And that's the other thing, right? Like, you don't want to be asking people for money like out of the blue, right? They haven't heard from you. And then all of a sudden you're like, by the way, buy my new this or that or whatever. You want to engage them in a conversation. So leading up to that point where you're going to be doing your NFT stuff, you want to be at the party, right? You don't just show up at the party and be like, excuse me, everybody, I'm here and I have to tell you something very important. Now listen to me. You show up, you bring a bottle of wine, you chat with people a little bit, you warm up to them. They say, oh, what do you do? And then you say, oh, well, actually, you know, it's the same thing with this kind of a project, right? And that's where it comes in, like that community building has to happen in advance. Definitely you want to think about where your advertising budget's going to be best spent. I like Brave browser. I think they're a really neat company. And
what was that?
The Brave browser. But you know, the people using Brave are a little bit more maybe radical, right? They're privacy minded people, they're tech minded people. So maybe Brave and their specs is not appropriate for your audience. But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different crypto places where you can advertise. But I mean, aside from that, I think just going out there and talking and meeting with people, and like I've always done really well by being in person. I don't know how you can make friends and influence people as well online if in this kind of like a clicky thing. I mean, you can get involved in forums, I guess. And like Discord is your friend, even though it's not mine. Like Discord is like a place where you can, I don't know, nerd out with other people. And that's a good way to kind of get started. But people ask me a lot, you know, what would be a strategy to market an NFT and have it be successful? And I have people on my team that specialize in that. So, you know, people have inbound leads, send them up. But for me, I always feel like it's just very intimidating because you don't want to like put it out and then no one will buy it. And then you just feel like a total failure, because that's the thing. It's about where you're selling it, right? There's this, I don't know, proverb or weird story, right? And dad gives his daughter a car for her birthday, right? And the car is like a 1960 kind of car, whatever. And the dad is like, all right, before you take this car, take it to the dealer and see what they'll give you for it. And the girl takes the car and she's like, Dad, you know, they don't want it. They said it's old, whatever. And then they're like, oh, we'll try and sell it at the pawn shop. The pawn shop said, oh, no, this car, it's got this broken. It's got this broken. We can't give you any money for it. And then she comes, and then dad's like, all right, now bring it to the car club. And so she goes to like the car club meetup and they're like, oh, this is the best car ever. Right. And the moral of the story is that know your worth and know if you're not selling yourself in the right store. Right. I think that they put it a little bit better in the story. But basically, you know where your market is and don't get discouraged just because you're trying to sell something to the wrong people. So hopefully that's helpful.
Well, thank you very much. And I feel like I'm in pre-kindergarten at this particular point in stage. So what I've chosen to do is follow Terry and Gina, and I figured I'll learn in that manner. So thank you very much for your answer.
Well, don't be shy. Follow me. There's a lot of cool people that I'm always retweeting. Like, get involved in the community, because, you know, Terry and Gina are great introductory people, but there's also, I find, one of the biggest topics in crypto always is, how do we get normies to understand? How do we get normal people to interact with this and find it interesting? And so there are no stupid questions. And if somebody acts like with an attitude, just move it along, go to somebody else, because there's just so many people with an endless spirit to help and educate. As soon as you get into Bitcoin in this world, like, basically everybody becomes an evangelist. We're almost a little bit annoying. Almost.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for your interest, and thanks for the question.
Yeah, I think
Thanks
that's
so much,
good.
Tatiana. And she did that might have kind of gone by. She used a term called normies. So Tatiana was saying normies. Normies is normal people who are not, well, crypto crazy, crypto. There's a lot of different terms: crypto comfortable, crypto savvy. But for those who aren't, who haven't, crypto enthusiasts. Yes, exactly. So that would be. So you might be a normie, you might not, but you're here and you're learning, and that's what's really important. And so as we wrap up, I do see a couple more questions in the chat here. And also I want to make sure that folks know how to get in touch with you, Tatiana, how to make the next step. So let's go to one question. And then if there are any other final questions, please pop in the chat, guys. Let's see. So Pat Ayers said, if you could just sum up again these direct benefits from having your coin. This is Pat Ayer was saying, what are these direct benefits from having your coin versus just accepting fiat money?
Sure. So my coin holders, and some of these are things that are in the works, and some of these things are available now, right? So I'm just going to talk about it as if they're all available, but it's kind of different layers. So for me, what I wanted to build out was the ability to message with me, to get discounts on tickets and on goods, early access to different content that I'm putting out there. For example, there's not always, I miss these olden days where I would write a song and then I could share it with a friend and say, oh, is this cool? What do you think? You don't want to put that on Instagram. Like, it's not for everybody, but it might be for my super fans. And then you have a positive place to kind of interact with them. So it's like it's almost like Amex points or something. And so basically, well, not exactly, because you don't really accumulate them. Although maybe at some point there would be that function, right? That would be really neat. That's what I wanted to do, but I've had to adjust my my expectations of tech and kind of like make it a little smaller. But that would be one thing that you can do, is that if you mint your own coins and people are using them, that you can incentivize your fans and just like give them away, and then they could do certain actions, like, oh, if you retweet this or if you win a contest, then you get some Tatiana points and stuff like that. And also the other thing is that, you're creating a longer term relationship with the fan. And, I had a lot of different fans on, let's say, MySpace or Friendster even, right? But each time that those platforms became passé, I would lose contact with those people. And in the music industry, a lot of times they say that the email is one of the best types of contacts, right? Because that follows you around for the rest of your life. And so that's why something like a Tatiana coin would be the same kind of principle, right? It's like a longer term relationship that you're creating with somebody. And it is dependent on you delivering, right? But I think that that's basically all we can hope for, right? Is to be determining our own worth and value.
Yes, absolutely. Terrific. Well, as we wrap up here, I know you mentioned your home and the people arriving with a bottle of wine, and that's something we did just a few months ago at your beautiful, beautiful home. You guys, she said there's a lot of work going on over there, but I just want you to imagine that you walk out onto one of her multiple balconies, and you are looking right at the port of Miami. There, you see all the beautiful cruise ships, and it's just a beautiful home that you have. And we're so grateful that we've been to one of your parties there. and we look forward to coming again sometime soon. And so ways people can plug in. You're going to be launching your NFT soon. So guys, tune in to Tatiana so that you can watch what she's doing and how she's getting these out into the world. So I did share your Tatiana Moroz website. Is there another site that we should share that would be helpful?
I mean, I think TatianaMoroz.com will take everybody to where they need to go. They can click on the Tatiana coin slide and then they could find out more there, maybe even get their own coins. And of course, I'm pretty active on Twitter and on Facebook, mainly Twitter. I have a TikTok now, but I'm not so sure about all that TikTok stuff. I feel so dated. I'm like, I don't want this TikTok stuff, but I don't. I really don't want any of it. I just want Tatiana going so I can have it's like bringing my home to everybody else. And then they can listen to my music on Spotify. You could pre-order my album on iTunes and listen wherever music is sold.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what would be a huge hit on TikTok would be your cute little doggy.
Oh, he is adorable. You know what? I have to do more TikToks. I think I'm going to do it after this. I get lazy, you know, when you work from home, I don't want to put on makeup. So bad.
Well, Tatiana, we're so grateful that you put on makeup for us today. And that you took time away from your overseeing your construction project and furniture delivery and all that we know that you have. We will support, be on the lookout and sharing with our community what you're doing and hopefully drive a lot of traffic and look forward to. Do you have any idea what the initial, what's called the floor price, which we've been learning about, what the floor price would be for your NFT? And is there a way to get on the waiting list?
No, there is no floor price. I am afraid of that decision and slightly putting it off. However, Adam B. Levine is coming here from Pixelmine and Tokenly. So he'll be here this weekend. He'll be speaking at my event. So we'll figure that out. And then if people want to stay in touch with me, they could just drop me a line on my website, TatianaMoroz.com in the contact form and say, fill me in. And then I'll fill you in on all the action. And yeah, I actually owe my fans a newsletter. So there's a newsletter somewhere out there that you can sign up for.
Yeah, that'll be good. Well, we appreciate you sharing that with us and giving us some real world ideas on what it's like. It's not something that's going to be done very easily, but it's something that if we have the right community around us and the right support, we can do it. Tatiana,
yes,
thank you.
And the spirit of fun. You need to have fun.
I like that. That's really important because if you don't have the fun, you kind of lose interest in it real fast. Fortunately, in the crypto world, there's a lot of people that have fun, and that's nice, particularly there at your place too with the party.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Very good. Well, Tatiana, thanks for being with us today. We really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing you again. We're going to talk about some other opportunities that are available here. You're welcome to stay with us, or if you have another commitment you need to get to, we understand you might need to trot off as well.
Unfortunately, I do have to trot off, but I can't wait to share this with my fans and stuff. So I'll be in touch and hope to see you all one day, maybe at an in-person event. Gina and Terry presents. Who knows?
Sounds good. Okay. Well, great to see you. Awesome. And please tell Lynn we said hello as well.
Excellent. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye now.
Hey, don't stop now. We've got a lot more videos out there for you about freedom and liberty, living the life of an entrepreneur who believes in live and let live. As a matter of fact, here's a way you can make a positive difference in the world. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. That lets the algorithms know, those wacky algorithms know, that, hey, people like this kind of thing of live and let live and doing it in a peaceful way. Thanks for being here with us, and we're looking forward to hearing from you.